Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Hakuoki Ito Blossoms at the end of Okita's route. We're in chapter 4, so we'll get our ending. I'm thinking we'll get the ending in this part, and then we'll see if we start our bad endings or if we do them in the next part. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm figuring this part, and then the next part will be the last for Okita's route, which kind of makes me sad because I feel like this was really short. But, I mean, I think they kind of just cut his I feel really bad because I feel like he's been dying the whole time and it's like this is sad, poor Okita. But I don't know. See. I hadn't considered how much colder the north was. And despite the incoming summer season, the blustery winds were freezing. Okita quickly grabbed a hold of my hand before walking away through a forested path. Where could he have been taking me? He gave me no chance to object, and he continued his brisk pace down the grassy knoll. Aww. Oh, wow. Okita brought us underneath a canopy that had a dazzling view of the stars scattered across the dusky sky. My cheeks were tingled by the caress of the soft breeze. The sky's all clear, so I figured a nice view would be just the thing you needed. I mean, sunny days are nice and all, but how about that view, huh? Oh, that reminds me of Saito. He liked to stare at the sky, and rainbows, and clouds, and puppies, and he was this adorable man. It was all that Okita said and more. I marveled in awe at the countless stars flickering brilliantly. The wind gently rustled the leaves overhead, allowing each brief glimmering sconce to peek through the tiny holes in the trees. Something so simple became a moment that I could cherish for the rest of my life, which won't be very long. Thank you for this, Okita. This is what I needed. You're welcome. You're such a prude. Okita cackled to himself, and he looked at me directly in the eye. So, talk to me. What do you want to do? I still hadn't settled on a decision, but I took a deep breath to gather my thoughts. I don't blame Kaoru for holding on to these feelings of resentment for as long as he has. He lost everything, his home, his family, and his entire clan for nothing, all because of the selfishness of others. He wants to carve a better future for himself. I'm sure if I were Kaoru, I wouldn't be too far off. Kaoru had attempted to manipulate me at so many opportunities, but now I knew the pain that had resided deeply within him was true. You better fucking kiss me in this part, because you haven't kissed me yet, and we've never waited this long for a kiss, I don't think. Well, have we always gotten in chapter 4? I thought more of chapter 3, maybe. I don't know. That doesn't mean that I've forgotten how many times he's crossed me, of course. After all, Kaoru is the reason that both Okita and I were suffering the effects of the water of life. But at the end of the day, Kaoru is still my brother. I wasn't sure if a time would come where I could forgive him for all that he had done to us. But my mind jumped to the horrific thought of having to endure the rest of my life without Okita. I realized that I, too, could become as bitter as Kaoru, cursing and hating everything that had the misfortune of entering my line of sight. Keeping this in mind, I couldn't quite bring myself to condemn Kaoru entirely. So, you want to join them, is that it? I hesitated to answer his question. It wasn't as though I never considered it an option. We Furies were unable to live an ordinary life alongside humans. If we were destined to live behind the shadows of mankind, perhaps residing with Kaoru was best. Still, I held on to my reservations. Kaoru is seeking to reclaim some glorious life he has idolized at the expense of many others. That is something I can't agree with. So if I can maybe convince him to give up on this dream to create this demon-run kingdom... Sounds a little delusional of you. You're talking about someone who's willing to exterminate an entire race of people in the interest of his own clan. You really think they'd even bother listening to your idiotic wish? Are you that naive? Well... Look, kid, in this world, there are a lot of people who've been dealt a shitty hand and have had to deal with it without any help from others. I don't think going in there thinking you're going to hold hands and make up will work on someone like him. Okita was right. I had no rebuttal. These emotions had festered for so long in Kaoru. His entire life was spent working towards exacting his revenge upon the humans to rebuild his clan. Entertaining the idea of putting a halt to his vengeful plans would have been out of the question. Like Okita said, I am naive. During a pause in our conversation, Okita turned back to face the stars. I wish I could have given you what you wanted. Huh? This hope you have. I wanted to go along with it and think everything would be okay. Because to be honest, without you, I doubt I'd even be alive right now. Truth. Okita's eyes thinned, and there was no hint of sarcasm in his voice. He was trying to comfort me. To Okita, it was Kondo for whom he had worked his entire life. And now that Kondo had been taken from him, I was sure Okita had no real objection to dying at any moment now. The fact he was alive right now must mean I want to make your wishes come true. All of them. So that you'll never think of joining Kaoru. To live in this world without humans. That isn't what you want, right? Okita had a knack for articulating my inner thoughts far better than I ever could. Or now that you got a taste of what it's like to be a monster, is your plan to give up your entire life and just hide away from the world? I was speechless. Okita paid no mind, and he continued without waiting for me to answer. That's not you. I don't see it, and even if it were, there's no way in hell I'd let it happen. You see, there are people in this world that are too important to let slip into darkness. Okita, I didn't want to live the rest of my life as a Fury. I didn't want to kill any humans. All I had wanted was a life of peace. Okita helped me remember that this was my dream all along. He saw right through me, sensing that I was beginning to slip away because I had drunk the water of life. As soon as we can find a way to cure the water of life, we'll be free from all this madness. You are you. You aren't a monster. You are you. You aren't a monster. Is that so much to ask for? To be free of this curse? When Sana was still with the Shinsengumi, he had spent years searching for a cure. In the end, he was unsuccessful. Kita knew this. When Sana was with the Shinsengumi, you say that as if you know he's not, but we haven't learned about his betrayal or anything about him at all in this path. But against all of the odds, he put his faith in whatever sliver of hope he had. After all this, if you still plan on just walking away from me and everything you have. Kita reached his hand to me kindly. The soft touch of his fingers gave me goosebumps, and he stared back at me affectionately. Thank you! And I will kill you. I fucking love it! What did I say when we started this? If he doesn't threaten to kill us at least once in this path, it's not fucking Okita and I'm done. I love you. This just made my life right here. And I'll kill you. Ah, I love it. Oh, you do love me. I knew you loved me. If you're going to give up moving forward, then I'll make sure you have nowhere else to go. By this point, I wasn't sure just how many times Okita had threatened to kill me. But this must have been the first time ever that he said it in such a kind-hearted manner. Knowing that his words came from a well-intentioned place made my heart flutter warmly. Okita, I love you too. Tell me you love him. So, if you don't want the sword through your gut, don't even think of giving up. I'm not strong enough to keep going without you either, you know. I won't give up till it's all said and done. For me, why don't we see what's waiting for us? The cadence of his voice was almost nervous. Perhaps Okita had been unsure of what I was feeling, so he gazed deeply into my eyes. Fucking kiss him. God damn it, would you just kiss me? Looking at his expression, I wanted to make his wishes come true as well. I won't give up. My forehead burned hotly as if I were coming down with a fever. Tears began to stream from my face, but they hadn't come from anything close to resembling sadness. It was all because Okita felt that I was still worth saving, and that he wouldn't let me fall into darkness. Even if persevering meant that our road ahead would be a difficult one, it was the road we needed. I want to keep going with you, Okita. There was no hope in containing myself anymore, and I grabbed a hold of him madly. Oh! Girl! Thanks. I had a feeling you'd come around. Okita embraced me warmly in return. I had a feeling you'd come around. I have been in love with you since like day one. I've been in love with all of you, almost all of you. The sweet sensation of his breath tickled my forehead before he whispered into my ear. No matter what, I'm not letting you get away. You and I are staying together until the end. Oh! He seems like such a hard ass, but he's so soft. His hand sweetly grazed the side of my cheek. As if he were nudging me, I timidly shut my eyes in anticipation. You better fucking kiss me. Yay! Ah! It's about fucking time! He let out a quiet sigh, and he put his tender lips against mine in one calm, confident movement. And she doesn't look 10. She actually looks like a real woman, and because her eyes are closed, so I could feel his fingers tremble nervously, as if he were touching something so fragile it would crumble at the slightest touch. That's adorable. Okita always had a witty, sarcastic response, opting to let his mouth do the talking. But now, there were no words from him, well, obviously, and together we basked in this intimate moment. He had been treating me so dearly. For once in my life, I felt whole, the thought of which nearly brought my tears. Our lips shook slightly, nestled in our passionate kiss. That's so adorable. Like, just like grabbing his shirt. I love it. I was sure that the same thoughts running through me were running through Okita as well. Just thinking about how complete he made me feel, it convinced me there was no greater love than ours. My future was his future. Ours, together. There's no greater love than ours, except for your love with Hijikata. It's greater than everybody's, right? I pined ever so to continue being by his side, and would do whatever it takes to keep him. I would follow him until the end of time. So romantic. It's over. I'm gonna die. I have diabetes now. It's so sweet. As these thoughts burned so fiercely inside of me, so too did our kiss intensify, and each breath between our zealous smacking grew more strained and sensuous. Okay, the zealous smacking just totally ruined it, because the audio the mental audio for that is just that's what I was going. Creepy. It's like the moistness. Ugh. Our first kiss came to its end. As our first kiss came to its end, we hesitantly stepped back from one another. Our footsteps echoed in the emptiness surrounding us, met only with the pleasant whistle of the night wind. However, the silence made me feel a tad uneasy, so I searched for words to break the tension, but as soon as I became conscious of his fingers interlocked with mine, my mind went blank. As much as I want to savor this moment, we can't be like this forever. I guess we should probably get some sleep, but I don't think I could shut my eyes if I tried. Oh, you're so adorable. I love you. Yeah. Okita once again turned to gaze longingly at the glittering stars above, and I followed suit. Tomorrow, I would sever my ties with my twin brother, as well as the man whom I had believed to be my father. Could I really do it? Could I stop them? Hey, Spacey. As I heard Okita call my name, my chest felt warm, and I looked at him with wide eyes. You don't have to get your kimono in a bunch. You already made up your mind, right? Well, of course. I don't know what you're thinking, but fighting's never scared me. Neither has the thought of killing someone. I nodded. I had watched Okita's prowess on the battlefield many times before now. Okita was always full of confidence, never letting his hot-headedness get the better of him in a duel. When Kondo was still alive, I didn't even have to think twice about a reason to kill someone. All I ever had to do was act as the Shinsegumi's sword, and I killed whenever commanded. That's why I was so proud to do whatever mission they gave me, dirty job or not. Now that Kondo's gone, I only have one reason to fight. And then Okita looked down towards me. Oh, it's you, Spacey. No! I mean, I just love the fact that he had to tell us that. Like, I know. Just want to pat him on the shoulder and be like, sweetie, I know. She might not, but I do. Okita, I chose this life, and there's not a single drop of doubt in my mind. I don't have any regrets, but until now, I never gave much thought to the idea of having a future. As he muttered those words softly, I couldn't help but be taken aback in his apathetic confession. In the good path, we can't both die. I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I was depressed, or like I had some pathetic death wish. I guess I just didn't give a shit, you know? Like, never occurred to me that living really mattered. That's because everybody abandoned you as a child. Your parents died, your sister abandoned you, and you felt unloved even though Kondo loved you, and you were like, I'll die to save him, and it was just you poor thing. Oh. I finally seemed to understand the hesitancy behind Okita's treatment of myself. This conflict within myself, this emerging resolve to fight for me, was an entirely new experience for him. So, the battle between us and my family is also the battle to determine a future for ourselves. Yes? Which means that defeat is not an option. This is the fight for our right to stay together. Forever. Okita silently nodded. Man, if you told me that in the past I'd have to fight for my life, and that I'd care about it, I'd tell you to shut up. All of a sudden, I'm faced with all these questions I'd never asked myself before. What do you mean? Well, for starters, when we're done fighting, the hell are we gonna live? Oh, he's right. We no longer had a space we could call home. If we were to search for a place to live, could Okita, as a former captain of the Shinsengumi, find a place where he could live reclusively? Ah, come on. Smile for me, kid. I didn't say that to make you feel bad. We can live in Yukamura Village, where we live with Heisuke. Oh, right. Sorry. Hey, Spacey. Yes? Okita paused at first, and I sensed his mind working as I gazed into his beautiful emerald eyes. Because Saito was accepted by the Aizu, right? That's why we moved into the fucking bitter tundra. They were like banished there, and we like moved there with them happily and living in the fucking North Pole. And oh my god, Saito becomes Santa Claus. You didn't know Santa Claus was Japanese, did you? Well, now you know. There you go. Anyway, and we moved into our village with Heisuke. Why can't we move there with Okito? Because we're gonna kill our brother in Kodo and be like, woo! Now there's nobody living there, so we can live there. Anyway, I waited intently for him to continue, but as our eyes connected, suddenly it felt as though time was suspended, and my heart pounded furiously. My cheeks became hot from blushing. Within his irises, I saw myself in a flickering twinkle of green. Why do you always act like a little girl when I talk to you? Can't you look me in the face? And don't be so mean. Mean? Haven't I always been like this? Aren't you used to it? Well, if you're gonna call me mean, anyways, then how about another kiss, huh? What? His remark came from nowhere and I froze. Yes! What? Yes! Just a kiss? Come on, honey. We could die tomorrow. I say we just roll around in this grass. Get some grass stains on our clothes. What? But we just kissed, girl. You could die tomorrow. Kiss this man. So, because we kissed earlier, it means we can't kiss again right now. Well, I'm asking you if you'll have me or not. That's all. So answer me. What's it gonna be? Did I really have to answer his question? Yeah, it's basically like will you marry me? Do I have to answer that? Yes. I mean, I've always known Akita to be quite free with his sarcasm, but I said, say nothing and accept it. We're literally supposed to say it depends on the time and place. Are you serious? Say nothing and accept him. Well, I think there's a time and place for everything. Time and place? Jeez, okay, princess. When's that? Huh? Well, Akita approached closer to me, as if saying yes, we're sure deal. As if my saying yes, we're sure deal. And I flinched nervously. I hadn't the faintest clue of how to respond, whereas Okita wore his crooked smirk proudly. He's like, because we threw it back in his face. There's a time and place for everything. Jesus, princess. Nah. Watching you squirm like that makes me want to play with you even more. Oh, please do. Okita reached his hand out to grab a hold of me by the wrists. His sudden movement caught me by surprise. It's a little forceful, but I'm not okay with it. Look at the look on his face. You're like, God, why? Shh, it's okay. Don't speak. His eyes were fervently locked with mine. Why are you so pretty? I panicked, attempting to step back and free my hands, but Okita wouldn't let go. Okita? Look at I love it. Maybe for you. You might have been happier with a man who could have given you a family, a little security, some peace. Who knows? Huh? I noticed that Okita's voice seemed to drop, and I became a little unnerved as he continued. His eyes no longer seemed to bear within them their typical earnestness, but rather, Okita seemed incensed for a reason that I couldn't identify. You see, Spacey, I think all I'll ever be to you is a big headache. Even if someday you were to wise up and come to regret your decision to fall for me, by then, I don't think I'd be able to let you go. Oh, I love you, you big dumbass. Oh, his playful demeanor had all but vanished. What had surfaced in its stead was Okita's confession that he acknowledged his fear of losing my love, but in spite of this fear, he would keep his resolve to fight. The closest we'll get to living side by side might be when we're 6 feet under the ground. Oh, the closest we'll get to living side by side might be when we're 6 feet under the ground. I can promise you that I'll fight to keep our future alive. But beyond making that promise, I don't know. His quivering mouth tickled the inside of my ear, and I could feel him mad with hot energy. No matter what, though, you're everything I want. As long as I live, I'll crave your touch. What? Oh, it hurts me so much. It's beautiful, it hurts. Even if that means putting you in harm's way, it's just that I can't help myself. I knew that sharing these sentiments didn't come easily to Okita, as he cupped my face tightly. Okita, just as I was going to respond. Oh, he's like, I'm gonna fucking make you kiss me again. I love it. Oh, we got two with him. Ah! That's for the not quite kiss that we had. It wasn't, you're like, you're not, but he's not, like, there's not, it's there, but it's not quite the kiss. It's it's that moment right before you kiss moment with Saito. I was interrupted by the touch of his moist lips. I won't let you say anything. I don't want you to say anything. Through the sensation of his wet, eager mouth, I could gather that this is what he wanted to say. You're like, well, I will say something. Our plump lips smeared against one another. That, again, is... that doesn't sound right. And he pulled at a fistful of my hair, drawing me deeper into him as he bit forcefully into my lower lip. He's a lip biter that's sexy. His kiss was different. I could feel it in the rhythm of his muscles. Bitter, and yet ever so sweet. Okita was not afraid of fighting, of dying. Even if our adversaries were members of my own family, he could swing his sword without a second thought. But even so, that he had given it any thought at all, knowing that my well-being could be at risk, meant the world to me. In his kiss, it communicated to me all of the subtleties that words couldn't quite express. 22 minutes of kissing. That's what we literally have gotten. Took a few minutes to wrap up, but then it's literally been like half this fucking part was him kissing me, which is great. I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing that out. That's amazing. After indulging for a moment, brief as it ever was, in the intimacy of each other's lips, there seemed to be something Okita needed answered. So the minute our lips separated, I answered him with a great deal of confidence. I don't mind putting up with anything you might do to me, Okita. I'll always forgive you, even knowing that our time together could be a limited one. Easy to say that now, but I bet when I'm gone you'll sob like a baby. That may be true, but I know at least I won't have any regrets, no matter what happens from here. Jeez, you know you got some killer pickup lines. Well, you always said you would kill me, right? Now we're even. Wow, aren't you something? I love it. You got some killer pickup lines. Well, you always said you'd kill me, so now we're even. Baby! I killed you first. What? With my pickup lines. Ah. Okita stroked my hair tenderly, staring back into my eyes longingly, as if this were a fond farewell. Perhaps the thought of our separation had hit him, and he had taken it to heart in this moment. Let's get some sleep soon. We'll need all the rest we can get to prepare for tomorrow. You're right. We didn't get love points for his saying, depends on the time and place. As we lied upon the ground, Okita spooned me, wrapping his arm under mine and nestling into my neck. Oh, rubbing his arms under mine. Oh. Even if whatever happened tomorrow proved to be a conclusive end, it was no guarantee of a bright future. However, even keeping this in mind, Okita and I were supporting each other through and through, and we were heading for my village. Even in the face of death or any hardships conjured under the vengeful eye of my brother, As long as Okita was beside me, I'm not afraid of anything. My unwavering resolve made me stronger. Okay, can I just say I don't like this part? Like, I don't. I mean, I love his path. Like, so far it's great. It's sad because it's like he's constantly talking about dying and his rotting flesh and blah, blah, blah. We're like, could you stop reminding me? But what I don't like is this, like, even if we're to die, even if we're separate, but would you stop? Would you stop? Would you stop? I feel like they're, like, they've kind of put that in everything. Like, even if we're separate, like, they throw that in there, but they just keep throwing it. They keep talking about it. They keep bringing up, like, Okita. And it's like, could you stop preparing us that the end is going to be Okita dies even in the good path? Because that's just what I feel like you're trying to set me up for. And I don't know if you're trying to set me up so that I'm like worried and like, and then when he lives, I'm like, oh, thank God I was concerned. Because I'm not concerned. He should live. Because if he actually dies in the good path, I'm literally probably going to lose my shit because you can't. Then what the fuck would the bad path be? You know what I'm saying? We have to live happily ever after. You can't do this death shit on me. You can't. You can't. You have to leave it open, happy, done. Even if he died 2 days later, I don't want to know about it. Like, just want to pretend we lived happily into old age, even with his tuberculosis, I'm saying. But I just feel like they're trying to constantly push, like, by the way, Okita's going to die pretty soon. Even if you live, he's going to die. Like, he'll live. Yay, we're happily ever after. Let's hug. And then he dies the next day. You wake up and he's dead. Like, I mean, that's what I feel like they're setting us up for, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think he's actually going to die in the good path. I feel like it's going to end happy the way it should. But at the same time, I'm like, stop making me feel sad before we get there. Why are you making me sad? Anyway, the very next evening, we'd finally arrived at the village of my origin, the village of the Yukimura. Within it were the people who had been awaiting my return for quite some time. Welcome home, Spacey. It's been a long time, my child. I never would have imagined that a reunion would take place in this, of all places. Father, I don't know his voice. I keep giving a different one every time. A wave of nostalgia washed over me from seeing my father for the first time in 5 years. However, he was no longer the clueless girl I used to be, and I hadn't found myself rushing up to him happily. I assume that your arrival means you've come with an answer to my proposition. So, what say you? Are you going to join us? Kaoru told you everything, yes? The day has come for us to rule Japan once again. Together, we shall create a kingdom of demons. Father, something in Father's words rang eerily to me. It sounded as though he was more excited by the prospect of usurping power rather than their initial proposition to rebuild the Yukimura clan. Spacey, you look pale. Please do not tell me that you've been refusing to drink blood. What? I'm sure you are aware, my child, but your body has been reinvigorated thanks to the properties of the water of life. However, it's imperative that you consume blood, or your sanity will diminish with haste. Father took a tone that reminded me of when he would admonish me as a child. I couldn't let myself dwell on the nostalgia, because there was something nefarious afoot in his behavior. I wonder what could be holding her back. I mean, it would have been so easy for her just to kill Okita and drink his blood. Too right you are. Listen to your brother, my child. We can produce more furies in no time at all. After Okita listened to them speak, he began to bark with laughter before turning to ask something of me. Spacey, what do you want to do? If it's for your sake, I'll give you however much blood you could want. All you could eat. I'll not give up. Not until the very end. I made a vow to you, remember? We were either going to break the curse of the water of life together, or not at all. Losing Okita, more than any mere serum could, would undo my sanity and give me no reason to live. You're goddamn right. You aren't the type of woman to fall for such a ridiculously stupid suggestion. Spacey, don't tell me. Kaoru glared back at me with cold eyes, refusing to speak lest he unleash his anger. If I were to guess, he was anticipating my answer even before I had said it aloud. I confidently faced him and Father and stood tall. Okay, so here's the thing. So is Okita going to be able to kick both of their asses? Because, like, Saito's really motherfucking good, right? He's really fucking good. And we had to have everyone fighting to help with Kazama. And, I mean, Okita's... I don't know. There's, like, a thing that they never really say when you watch the anime and everything. Like, Okita and Saito, they're both really fucking... Like, I don't know, like, when they fight each other, like, there's never a win. They could fight forever. Like, you're like, who's gonna win? Neither one of them wins. They always have, like, stop, you guys. It's been 3 days. Jesus. Like, You know what I'm saying? So they're both really motherfucking good. But, you know what I'm saying? Although, in this instance, Kaoru not quite as skilled of a demon as Kazama, and Kodo not quite as skilled. So, I mean, the two of them might equal Kazama, is all I'm saying, or less, so. But it's still funny to me that, like, is anyone going to show up and help? Or, well, then again, we have power, so it's going to be 2 against 2, I guess. Because you can't do it alone, no matter how good you are, basically. So, especially because Okita's, like, half-ass over here. Like, no offense to him, I love Okita, but he's, like, running on half steam. He's falling apart. We know this. They keep harping this, so I'm just saying. It's going to be harder for him. Anyway. I confidently faced him and father and stood tall. I cannot join the two of you. Kaoru let out a deep sigh. Good grief, Spacey! Seriously? You're that willing to throw everything away? Your twin brother, your village, and your father? All that for him? You are a real bitch. I mean, Okita is merely a human. And not only will his disease kill him soon, but his mind will shatter from the water of life. Kaoru, don't you dare speak ill of Okita. And it's like, Kaoru, wait. Kaoru, you speak ill of Okita, I will fucking kill you. Basically. You're welcome. I couldn't stand to stay silent. I couldn't stand to stay silent as Kaoru shamelessly slandered Okita in front of me. Stay silent, shamelessly slander. Shoulders and soldiers. Soldiers with shoulders. The Choshu shoulders. I'm just laughing at that because it sounds like the worst name for like a fucking team ever. Like any kind of sports team is like, the Choshu shoulders! Wow, you drew the short end of the stick with that one, didn't you? Anyway. There was a slight hesitation before saying this aloud, before Father and Kaoru, but I love Okita. That doesn't mean that either of you mean nothing to me. But Okita has a special place in my heart. If I were to commit to this relationship, then it meant I needed to separate myself from my family. I want to spend my life with Okita. I have no desire for an army of furies or a demon kingdom. I have no desire to carve a life that comes at the expense of hurting others. So are you implying that our actions are unjust? We have no claim to what we propose, pretty much. My parents were murdered. My village was burned to the ground. And I faced retribution at the hands of other demons, all because I wasn't a female. And you're telling me that I'm wrong for seeking justice against those who stripped me of everything? I'm kind of going to call bullshit on that last point. Like, well, one, okay, my parents also died, dumb fuck, because I'm your twin sister. My village was burned, dumb fuck. And I mean, I didn't know I was a demon, so I can't really go with you on that. But I'm going to call bullshit on that retribution by other demons because you happen to be a female. Now, go fuck yourself, because Kazama, half of you motherfuckers are men, so that means you'd all be beating each other up on a regular basis, like whatever, for being men, and none of you would be useless. You'd all be fucking useless because you'd be crying in corners because you'd have all been demoralized and whatever by each other. So I'm gonna call bullshit on that. Bullshit. Wait, did I just... Hold on. Are you asking... Wait, and you're telling me that I'm wrong for seeking... Oh, no, okay. You're asking me to continue living my life in shame and fear, in desolate oppression? I meant to hit the wrong... Kaoru... If only Kaoru had found someone who mattered to him like Okita mattered to me. This was all I could think of to soothe his rage. But like all things, I suppose, this was only a naive wish. Even so, there was no way to convince myself that Kaoru was just in his reasoning. Kaoru, of course, continued his tirade. I'll never allow you to live your happy, ignorant life as if nothing happened here. It seemed as though we became the target of Kaoru's ire. Even though the same blood flowed through our veins, Kaoru and I shared no common goal or thread of life. I'm going to do whatever it takes to accomplish my dream, even if it makes my darling sister cry. I know, but that's why we... Sounds like they're done talking, kid. Well, this was fun. We got a job to do as well. Then our two groups leapt back to make ground. Father, please, wake up! What gives you the right to kill so needlessly? Just to create a world for demons? Even though our clan was destroyed by humans, we had no right or claim to something more than anyone else in this country. Deep down, I knew Father believed this as well. Father, you're a doctor. You spent your life helping countless others. Don't you remember how many patients you treated in Edo? All those times they thanked you? Well, I knew Father couldn't quite attribute the evils committed against our people to every human. So as long as he could learn to forgive, then he can continue to live in the company of humans. I know that the humans and demons can still coexist peacefully, just like how we used to live peacefully in Edo. Spacey. I saw Father's eyes flicker. There was still goodness inside of him. It's like a first. Hell, you really are naive. Our clan was destroyed because we wanted to avoid war. So what? If you keep this up, all you're doing is perpetuating the same cycle of violence. If, and only if, we were to wipe out all the humans from this country using the Furies, any humans who survive would come to resent us. Kaoru, do you want to create more orphans like us? And guess what? They would do the same thing and they would take you down and it'd just be a cycle. So, what do you want me to do? You think I should just forget all the wrongdoing in the past? Take it on the chin? Sorry, but fat chance. I'm not as much of a pushover as you are. No, I'm just a better person and you're an evil sack of shit. I told you before, those with the power to do great things are seldom given the opportunity at the hands of their rivals. Only the ones who work to step on the good graces of others, manipulating anyone who crosses their path, can have the last laugh. Can you just kill this fucker already? Kaoru took something out of his pocket. It was... The moment I saw him pull out a glass vial, I felt something shudder from deep within my soul. Kaoru! Kaoru merely grinned maliciously before opening the vial and gulping its contents in one deep sip. You have to take that because you suck! He clutched madly at his throat. Now's the time to stab him in the heart. Suddenly his hair turned white, and from his scalp I watched a thick horn raise itself. Why? Why? Why would you drink the water of life? Only something so potent as this can possibly awaken the demonic powers residing inside of me. You know, it wasn't that difficult to do. It was an experiment, my dear sister. What? Kaoru willingly drank the water of life just to obtain more power? Was that it? Kaoru Nagumo, 3, the wielder of the Kadachi Daitsurin, which is nearly identical to the protagonist. He drank the water of life and became a Fury Demon hybrid thing. We forgot that line. You know, he drank the water of life. That's usually what it says. Anyway. How could he be so unaware of the path to which he was now fully committed? I know just how strong Okita is, but this is not a duel that I can afford to lose. If I die here, then it'll mean everything I worked so hard to achieve would go to waste. Kaoru clasped his hand around his katana's hilt, drawing it in one swift movement. In return, Okita unsheathed his gift from Kondo. Look, man, I get it. Losing for you means your sister. Everyone who ever bullied or abandoned you, and everyone who's ever stepped on your foot would be vindicated. Till I met Kondo, I lived a lot like you do. I always had something stuck up my ass. Which is even more reason for me to make sure that she doesn't suffer. My life is hers. That means I can't afford to lose either. Surely you understand. Okita! My heart fluttered as the sound of Okita's dedication played repeatedly in my head. It was a sentiment that I shared with him. Enough! I'm tired of dealing with you morons! That's how you make Saucer Eyes look motherfucking crazy. Where's my... Oh, anyway. Kaoru growled angrily, throwing himself at Okita. Each clash of their blades produced bright sparks. Becoming a Fury must have increased his strength to an unfathomable degree. Both his speed and the force of his strike came with an increased velocity, and Kaoru swung madly at Okita. Okita, however, was able to dodge each of Kaoru's advances with ease, and he put distance between them. Even if you kill me here, it's not like you'll be very far behind me. You know, using your fairy powers saps away your lifespan, right? I mean, you've already got a short lifespan as it is. I wonder how many minutes you've got left. Yet again, Kaoru flailed his blade wantonly, hoping to gravely wound Okita, but Okita evaded all of his strikes. I know. So if I don't have much time left, there's no way I'm using it all on you right now. The electrifying rhythm of their fiercely contested battle made it difficult to keep up. Tension made the air thick with rot and despair. Here's one more attack, and it'll be done. I no longer have the luxury of wasting time with a dead man walking. Bring it on, fucker. Oh! Wait, hold on, I gotta put my remote down. Round of applause for Okita. He pulled a Hijikata, and I fucking love it! Bring it on, fucker. I can read that line all day, I love it. Both of them kicked at the ground at the same time. In the space of a flash, each combatant struck the other. Yeah. Okita was struck in his bicep and blood flowed freely from the wound, spilling onto the ground below. This did little to stop Okita, however, and he returned the favor by slicing the middle of Kaoru's abdomen. I'll heal in no time! Your fucking intestines are out. Kaoru's body was scarred by Okita's well-aimed strike. Strange and disconcerting sight indeed. As we had expected, this fight was life or death. Rather than waiting for their injuries to heal, both men exuded a fiery resolve to see their opponent hacked into pieces until he no longer resembled anything human. Eventually... This match, as I see it, is over! Kaoru looked capable of fighting, if just a bit more, but Okita appeared to have exhausted every last bit of energy he had left, as he could barely stand. Here's the thing! He's a Fury, he's a human, and he's got tuberculosis. He's still fucking better than a demon who just took the water of life to make himself stronger. I'm just saying, Okita's got tuberculosis and he's literally dying. He's still better than Kaoru as a Fury. Farewell, Okita. The least I can do for you is to give you a quick, painless death. Then Kaoru raised his bloody sword when... Kaoru, don't! I refused to stay quiet, and I screamed out to Kaoru in hopes of stopping him. There's no need to fight. Do you plan on doing this forever? Neither Okita nor I want to kill you. All we want is to cease the senseless fighting and to find a cure for the water of life. Shut up! Do you want to die before Okita does? After shrieking at me, Kaoru began to charge towards me. I had to find a way out of his path, stab him with the sword. His fury and his speed was beyond comprehension, and I had no chance to escape. Kaoru, wait! Okita tried hopelessly to run right behind Kaoru, but by then, Kaoru was practically arm's length from me. That's when you should have whipped your Kodachi out and just held it so he ran right into it. Then, just as I'd embraced the thought of death, a body had flung itself frantically in front of me. I actually kind of expected when Kaoru was about to kill Okita that Koda was going to stab him through the back or something, like right through his heart, instead of flinging himself in front of us. But, you know, I thought because we had him almost convinced, I was like, he's having a decent, like, there was still good in my father. Is there really? That's a shock, because I never would have thought that in any other path, because he's a demonic son of a bitch. But okay. But she said that, and I was like, he's going to redeem himself at some point in this, but... A very familiar voice screamed right within earshot. Father! Father, the man who had raised me since I was a young girl, sacrificed his body, which was punctured brutally by Kaoru's sword. Father, you protected me. He said nothing. All he offered in response was the same stern expression I'd seen and known my entire life. That looks like a smile. You bastard! How dare you get in my way! Kaoru, on the other hand, seemed merely inconvenienced as he kicked his foot against Father's body to extract his sword. As Father's body slowly descended towards the ground, I reached my arms to keep him upright. And then... I guess there's some people in this world who just can't be saved. By the way, I may have held a grudge or two in my time, but I never met anyone I've wanted to kill more than you, Pipsqueak. Pipsqueak? You could have done so much better. In the very next moment... Okita drove his blade directly into Kaoru's heart with ruthless conviction. I love you so much, Okita. I mean, like, I'm not turned on by the blood and the violence, but... And it's just because Kaoru sucks so bad, so I'm just really... I love you so much. And if I weren't in love with you, I would give you my love and let you have your way with my body just because of it. No, not really. But, I mean, Kaoru needed to die, so... I love you for killing him, even though this Spacey in the game is probably going to be like, why did you have to kill him? I understand, but no, forgiveness. I'm down with you, Okita. This is why Okita and I would be like soulmates, because I'd be like, I'm going to kill that motherfucker, and you'd be like, please do. Especially when he says, let's go, bring it on, fucker, yeah! My favorite word. Oh, you had me for bring it on, fucker. And also every time he's like, I'll kill you. Yeah, I'd like to see you try. I love you too. Oh my god. With that, Kaoru's body dropped to the cold ground. Can I just tell you my hip hurts so bad? I'm sitting here stretching and it's like, oh my god, I feel like my ass is gonna fall off. It's not because I'm sitting uncomfortably. I mean, I literally am sitting oddly, but it's just because, my god, my hip fucking kills. I'm so fucking old. His eyes were empty, and as his limbs sprawled across the dirt, he looked incapable of standing. Can't be saved, huh? Whatever. I never given a damn about salvation in my entire life. Kaoru gazed lifelessly in the distance, letting out a pained exhale. He was stabbed through the heart. How much life could you possibly have left in you to have this nice, 20-minute monologue? And then quietly, he shut his eyes, for his life was over. Okay, that made more sense. Kaoru, although I believed I had been prepared to see this, watching it unfold before my very eyes was far more difficult than I could bear to stomach. Sorrow found its place inside my heart, as if a piece of me had died alongside Kaoru. I mean, he's your twin brother. Oh my god, my toes are going numb from the way I'm sitting. Oh, Jesus. I cut off blood circulation in my hip. In the end, we were unable to come together. If only I could have known more about him. This regret would come to haunt me, I imagined, and I gritted my teeth as the reality took shape in my mind. Luckily, I had Okita to comfort me. Physically. Comfort me physically. I need your passion and lovemaking to comfort me. Spacey. Okita called out to me, and I turned around. Oh, he's all bloody and gross, but it's okay. We love him. Spacey, are you there, child? Father, whose skin was pale as a porcelain doll, also called out to me. Oh, look at his sweet face, even though he's bloodied and bruised. Oh, go say something to him. My fear was that as soon as I would speak, I would begin to cry uncontrollably, but you already are. Somehow, I fought back the tide of tears, and I answered him. Yes, Father, I am here. I see. Father's brows widened in relief. Forgive me, for you're so near, and yet I cannot see your face. This is not as sad as when adoptive dad Gen died, but I'm just saying it's still a little sad. You're like, oh, she's losing the guy that she thought it was, and he saved her life, so he redeemed himself, because in any other path, I'd be like, kill the motherfucker, I don't feel bad. This one, you're like, oh, he died to save her. That was sweet. Without saying anything, I took a hold of Father's hand. It was icy to the touch. Oh, she's holding... Okay, that's weird. So, she's holding Kodo's hand, and he's got his arm around her. It just looks awkward. Because, I never would have got that. I wasn't really paying attention until she said I took his hand, and I was like, wait a minute. That's true, because that can't be Okita's hand, or his hand's going really fucking wrong. You got something broken there, buddy. He must have lost a significant amount of blood by now. His condition was critical enough that even if he were to receive medical attention, it would be too late. Spacey, I must tell you something. Father, you're only going to tire yourself. Please, you don't need to strain yourself by talking. Shut up, girl! That's how to fix this. No, I'll not make it out of this anyways. Forget about me. This land contains a spring of pure water, capable of reducing the water of life's effects. What? She grabs him and shakes him. Tell me, old man! If you can harness it and use its power, maybe it can be used as an antidote for the water of life. With his very last bit of strength, He gave us the solution for which we had been searching all along.
Was I able to protect you, daughter? Just like a father should, in my final moment?
Father, blood may have been thicker than water, but there was a bond between us that was unbreakable, all the same. When I was still a young girl, I had memories of my kind father carrying me on his back as we sped down the mountain trail. You'll always be my father, no matter what, even if not by blood. This is a promise. You're the only father I ever had. The only man I am honored to give that distinction. That's a lie. In a way, is like our dad. Hearing my promise, Father smiled faintly. He drew one last breath, seemingly at peace. You're my father, and in a way is like dad. I braced myself to accept the loss of these men, but it did nothing to stifle my grief. Could anything? You shouldn't be sad about your brother. You should be like, I mean, you'd feel that because it's your twin, and you'd be like, I feel the pain because I just lost my twin, but at the same time, he kind of deserved to die, and he was irredeemable. I understand you feeling bad about Kodo because he kind of redeemed himself at the end in that. Kaoru, my estranged twin brother who died before either of us could get to know the other. Father, who always seemed to wish the best for me, even until his dying breath. These lamentable thoughts swirled tirelessly. Both of them were, surely, men that would impact my life for as long as I live. My promise to them, if I could, would be to preserve their memory. I'll not let them go forgotten. You should let Kaoru go forgotten, I'm sorry. Everyone should forget him. Then, Okita softly put his hand on my shoulder. He tenderly ran his fingers along the length of my scalp before patting me like he would a child. Crying's all right, Spacey. Okita. In the next moment, Okita wrapped his arms around my fragile frame, embracing me tightly. His body served as a conduit. Though with my inner frustration... Through which, I'm thinking, is supposed to be? My inner frustrations were channeled and brought to the surface. Okita! Despite my relief in seeing Okita safe, having it come at the expense of my family gave me heartache. Would I ever be able to shake this remorse? Yes! I mean, I understand you feeling bad about Kodo. But you should be like, Kodo died because Kaoru's a dick and you killed Kaoru, and I'm okay with that. No, you shouldn't feel sad about this. Yes, about your father, but not about your brother. I mean, yeah, I kind of regret that we didn't get to know each other and that he was a crazy psycho, but he deserved to die and I don't feel bad about it. In spite of my best efforts, I started bawling madly. You did great today. You're a really kick-ass kid. I stood there and did nothing, but when it comes to strength in the heart, rather than the sword, you got me beaten by a long shot. That's true. His method of comforting me was what one would likely expect when speaking with a child, but he still knew how to tell me what I needed to hear most. The fact alone that he wouldn't hold back the truth from me made my love for him burn even hotter, and my tears streamed without restraint. Oh, I'll burn your toenails. Yay! Yeah. Oh my god, my hip hurts so bad. I can't sit on my bouncy ball. It's like my hip hurts too much. Oh. Oh. Oopsie! I almost fell off my bouncy ball. I'm just really, balancing awkwardly, trying to stretch my hip. Carrot House. It still makes me... I laugh. That's the best. We got 2 kiss CGs with him. That's what they gave us because the path was so fucking short. If you think about it. It was like really short comparatively. Although, I think at this point, this is what, the 5th part, and the next one will be the 6th. So it's the same length as Heisuke's path, so I guess it's not any different. And Saito's path was just longer, but then again, it could just be his path was longer, or I rambled more. I don't know. But I feel like I rambled the same amount in every part. That was weird. All right, final chapter. There we go. We rebuilt our house and live there now. The sky sparkled clearly, and beside us there was a stream of pure water. As we found ourselves surrounded by a lush meadow and thick trees, our bodies began to feel a change. By the time the crescent moon had risen alongside a sea of stars, we could finally lay our heads at rest, and for once in a long while, we woke to a bright morning. Our lives were no longer constrained by our murderous thirst for blood, and we regained the peaceful lives for which we had pined for so long. Thankfully, we were still blessed with some of the heightened features that came with drinking the serum. Of course, there were things that hadn't changed at all. We were still us. Okita hadn't fully recovered from his tuberculosis. Oh, no! The illness still ate away at his body, Jesus. No, could you just let that out? But even so, I took solace that I could spend a day as delightful as today with him. As today was with him. You had to ruin it with your derp face, but... Oh, look at how sweet! I love him so much. Oh. It sure is beautiful, isn't it? I squinted as I turned my eyes toward the sunlight, and Okita let out a small chuckle. Sure is. Being able to bask in the sunlight with you is all I need. Couldn't ask for more. Yep. Sunlight, which had previously served as a painful curse to Furies, no longer burned our skin. All that changed is our aptitude for naps. So it became customary for us to fall asleep, soaking in the tender warmth of the summer sun. Feeling safe and snug beside Okita's comforting presence was like a dreamlike kind of bliss. That's adorable because they just live in the Yukimura village, whatever, and they just live there by themselves in this little peaceful house and just fields of grass. It's adorable. Naturally, I couldn't help but yawn. Okita, of course, laughed at the sight. You can't sleep. I'm not tired yet. But I'm tired already. Okay, but if you fall asleep, I'll get bored. Hang out with me a little more, would ya? Okay. I rubbed my aching eyelids softly. I love you, Spacey. Huh? My love for you shines more than the sunlight tickling those little cheeks of yours. No one else compares. Oh my god. Slaughter me with adorableness. Okita reached out to grab me into a tight hug, and he muttered this softly into my ear. As the sensation of his breath tingled my earlobe, suddenly I felt my cheeks blush hotly. That's not fair. What's not fair? I'm just telling you the truth. His fondness for poking fun at me was something he'd likely never let go of for as long as we were together. Jeez. At first my expression was pouty, but I couldn't keep from bursting into laughter. Perhaps it was because, for once, we could savor this moment without worry. So, how about you? You love me too, right? His question was hushed, as if he were telling me an intimate secret, and he gazed deeply into my eyes. Well, yes. What? I don't want to hear yes. I want to hear you say it yourself. Okita was grinning impishly, but I took it to mean he was eager to hear my words of affection. Every time he asked me for my feelings, he demanded an immediate answer. He valued my opinion, and he craved my validation. Knowing this to be the case, I felt compelled to give him as honest of an answer as I could. I love you, Soji, more than anything. I saw Okita's face beam with excitement. Watching his cheeks puff happily made me blush harder. He's so adorable. Why is he so adorable? Gotcha. Thanks, Spacey. He wrapped his long, slender fingers around mine. However, he was grasping it more tightly than usual, leading me to wonder... Soji, don't you ever forget, seeing that goofy smile on your face is what I cherish most. His words were like honey, Soft and gooey. I know, right? I love it. Ah! But sweet all the same. I'll do whatever it takes so that you never feel lonely again. So, please. I inched closer to him, anxious about letting any amount of space between us go unfilled. Akita seemed a tad nervous about our future. I, too, was nervous about what the future could hold for the two of us. I'm going to be okay. I held his hand delicately in mine. You complete me, Soji. Oh my god, you complete me! Because of him, everything that had happened these past years was worth it. I was able to fall in love. You bring me a joy I never knew existed. I don't think I'd feel lonely if I tried. His sad, emotional eyes thinned, and he squeezed a smirk from his lips. After a moment, he wrapped his arms, pulling me closer to his large, muscular frame. He wrapped his arms around me? I'm just pulling me closer to his large, muscular frame. Okay. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. He spoke as if uttering a vow. Trust me. Even if one day they tear me away from you, my heart belongs to you. Eternally. I'm gonna die! I'm gonna die! I can't handle this! His emerald eyes twinkled as he smiled. Then he shut his eyes. His embrace loosened, if only slightly, and he let out a small sigh. Soji... At first, no answer. I suppose he'd spent enough energy making his feelings for me known, and he dozed off. Or, perhaps, the sun's warmth made a nap quite the proposition. You just said you weren't tired. I giggled to myself. What was I going to do with him? But I put my lips right beside his ear. I feel the same way about you, too. Whatever he had been dreaming must have been a pleasant one, as his lips curled into a smile. He's not dreaming. He's faking it. Even if one day they tear me away from you. I mouthed his words slowly, letting them seep into my heart. My heart belongs to you. Eternally. May this warmth live forever. May his arms forever find comfort in my embrace. I whispered these prayers softly to myself, and I shut my eyes in concentration. I'm gonna cry. That's so cute. I was like, if he were to wake up, I'm sure that this time he would hear it. I'll say it over and over, so that he'll never doubt. My words of love. Good night, Soji. So until then, sleep well, my love. Oh my god. The diabetes, I have them from the amount of, like, a ridiculous sugar and sweetness that was. I can't handle it. They gave us the best end with him. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, that was, you're like, oh, because he pretty much dies in everything else, and, like, the cough of a Shinsengumi. That's pretty funny. That's kind of cruel, actually. So anyway, that was that. And what we'll do in the next part is we'll go down, do all of our bad endings. We'll get, yeah, so we got our 4 bad endings and our unrequited love endings. So, whoop, we'll do that in the next part and then check out our CGs. So, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.